I spoke to my grandmother today. I haven't spoken to her in a long time. Probably, I haven't talked to her since her birthday, so I haven't spoken to her since August. Before that, I don't know the last time I spoke to her. And it caused me a little bit of emotion. I'm emotional, um, which, as you know, I'm an emotional individual anyway, right? But ultimately, I don't have any desire to speak my opinion anymore. I don't have any desire to speak on facts. I don't have any desire to do any of that. Like, I lost it all. And recently I sat Aaron down and I told him, you know, in his younger years, especially like when he was really little, I would promise him that, we would get Natanya back. And, we are going to, all this stuff is just, it's going to be okay. And not too long ago, I sat him down and I was like, you know what? I need to let you know that I can no longer promise that we're going to get your sister back. Everything, and this is to you, but everything's just taking entirely too long. My daily life and my day to day and what I'm doing in order to heal, which in the last year, I spent a lot of time in doctor's offices trying to get some semblance of health back. It's not really, at some point, I had like an MRI or something and I had to cancel it, and then I never got back to it because things just, they get out of hand. I have a doctor's appointment tomorrow actually, but all the time that it takes just to get to some semblance of health is taking incredibly long, and because of my finances, not having a vehicle, like everything just takes so much longer than I want it to. I cannot make that promise to him anymore. You know what I'm saying? I can't make that promise because, I do have a plan. It's like a 5-year plan. Hi. And that's not including obstacles. That's not including finances. That's not including health. That's just what you plan to do. You know what I'm saying? So recently I had to take that promise of getting my daughter back off the table and letting him know, I'm sorry that I'm taking this promise back, but I think it's better for me to tell you that I can't do it, possibly, than try to reassure you that that's going to happen and not having even the means to do it. You know what I'm saying? So he didn't like that. He didn't like that, but I think that it's better for him than growing up and thank you. Having a promise that was never, fulfilled, and having resentment towards me in adulthood, for it. So, like I said, in these last few weeks, I think, I kind of just, it's not like I gave up or anything. I'm just officially there's nothing else to be said. Everything that I've said is redundant. I'm just going to keep repeating myself. I have 780 something videos speaking on everything that I've gone through. I have contacted 15 different types of law enforcement in the judicial system, and nothing has changed. So at this point, I have to be okay with the trajectory of my life, even if I don't like it. I hate it. I'm not miserable per se, okay? I'm not miserable, but I definitely just feel like so my life is just wasted, essentially. And talking to my grandma, it kind of reminded me of that because she hasn't talked to me in a long time. So I don't need you to subscribe. You know, that's not the issue. That's not the issue. I didn't come on YouTube and make all these videos so that I would be successful. That's not what it was. I wanted to impact people. I wanted to have a conversation about family dynamics. I wanted to have a victory in court. I wanted to be seen for who I am, And I don't even know if I accomplished that because still have no friends and haven't resolved, the custody stuff. At this point, I don't really feel like talking anymore. I've said enough. So yeah, I don't disagree that Jesus is my friend, right? You would just have to understand, and I'm sure you do. I wouldn't be surprised if you understand, the social isolation is definitely a taxing thing. To have to leave your family. Like my grandma was asking me something about, she actually said I was very important in the family. And it's like, I haven't even talked to a majority of my family members in 4 years, maybe even 5. I'm not counting, but that's how long I have not spoken to the majority of my family members. Then I have, my biological family. I don't talk to them. So, at some point last year, I haven't really been on here for 8 months, so thanks. Last year, Aaron and my daughter were talking to me about when are you going to get a car? And I gave them a trajectory. And as we were walking, Aaron said, God said it's going to be a lot sooner, right? I'm like, okay, whatever. And during this time, I was speaking to my mom. I was speaking to her. We hadn't seen each other, but I was speaking to her. And Aaron relayed this information to her. And then, one day my sister and my mom call me and they tell me they're going to give me a car. She got a new car, and she has her old car. I'm going to give you this car for $1,000. And my mother is going to front the money. I immediately went into therapy like, oh, if this is going to be bad. I can already sense it's about to be bad, right? Something's not right about it. And somehow a conversation came up, because now my mother now lives in Ohio when she originally lived in Maryland. So she relocated back to Ohio. And they were trying to invite my son to go out there so that he could be with my daughter. And she lives in Columbus. I live in Newark, so it's like a 45-minute drive. She's trying to invite him to come out there, and that way Natty and him can hang out and blah, blah, blah. But unfortunately, I do not trust my mother due to things that I've seen, okay? Inappropriate behaviors. And so my sister was trying to, convince me to do this, and that's how we got on the conversation of, listen, I do not trust her with my children, blah, blah, blah. And that's when they get into, well, why are you letting her front you the money for the car and blah, blah, blah. And so, of course, the car thing fell through. And pretty much since then, that was like in August, near September. And the money that I need to come through is taking an extremely long time. I'm waiting on something, and it's supposed to take like 6 months. It's been 9. Then they promised me 1 more month, and now it's been 2, so it's just like, why is all this happening? It's really hard to not get discouraged. I know that I've told the truth. I know that I'm not crazy, even though I don't always have the best behavior, but who's perfect, I'm not saying, I'm not excusing it by any means, but to give an example, I actually got released by my therapist last year. And it's because she left the business. But when I asked for a new therapist, she told me no, because everything that you ever have a problem with is situational and you don't actually have an issue. I'm still looking for another therapist. Unfortunately, the area that I'm in, they just have like hella long wait list. The one I'm looking for is like 4 months right now, and in the best area for in terms of like transportation wise, right? So, it's just, everything's just so long. Everything is taking so long, and so now because it's taking so long, it's like, you know what? There is no. I don't think there's going to be any justice for the things that have happened. Like, that's the point that I'm getting at. And it was funny because I got a call. I do not even remember when it happened. But when it happened is kind of when this feeling just started to take over me. But I got a call about Aaron's dad, that they're not going to be, pursuing charges for what happened to myself and what happened to my son in our time in Maryland. After 4 long years of waiting, they dropped the charges. Out of water. So there's that too. So just they all just keep getting to do what they want, and they get to get away with it. And I understand that karma and divine justice doesn't always come in the ways that you want, right? It's not always going to be in the form of someone going to jail or anything like that. They may experience something in their life, but I really wanted to see what I really wanted to see was people being locked up for having affected my potential. I understand that the work is on me, and that there's certain things that I can do. But again, I have my plan. I can only just go. But I just sit sometimes and imagine the life I would have had. And you can't think that way, you can't always think that way, but sometimes I do. Because now here I am. I put in work. put in things, but I still have no return. And now I just gotta work more and I gotta do more, and I don't have any more to give. I don't. I don't. And I've known that for a long time. Like, that's why I wasn't really bothered with being on here for the last 8 months, because everything I have to say has been said. You know, we can look and dissect every single thing that we see popping up in the news and in the media, but it's already been broken down. All I'm doing is talking the same point over and over. I don't have it to do anymore. I'm glad that I've seen some changes and some justice for some other people in the world. You know what I'm saying? But the only person that can provide my justice apparently is myself, by, you know, continuing to try to live my life and make something of it. It's just, even when that happens, it's so far down the road. They stole so much. All the time that it's taken me to fucking just be normal, and this isn't even normal, sitting here crying on a fucking live, right? To get to some point of normal again took so long, and now it's going to be even longer to get some kind of life. I'm so mad. I'm so angry. I'm so hurt, and I'm so over it. I am so over it, bro. I'm over it. So, you know, I don't really have much else to say. I hope that anyone that comes to my channel enjoys the content that was placed here. Hopefully it helps someone, but I don't really have anything else to say. I don't have another reading for you. I don't have another thing to dissect. I feel like I've done enough, and I'm gonna just go live my life now. What bit I have of it. Y'all take care.